Hi everybody, I am Natalya, and Misha and I are going to be giving you guys a quick little presentation on creative confidence and the importance of it in everyday life for yourself, for teams, and within any sort of leadership. To start this conversation, I thought it was really important to define what creativity is. And the direct definition of creativity is the use of imagination or original ideas, which is really important to understand what creativity is, or what it is to be creative, when we dive into what creative confidence is. And so creative confidence is the idea that you can believe in your ability to create change in the world around you, or that creative confidence is in the belief that we are all creative. Everybody has creativity within inside of them. Everyone has it, and a lot of people, or a stereotype that people think that creativity is a fixed trait and that we're born with it. But in fact, it is not at all. We all are creative. We were all born with creativity, not everyone, just specific people have it. Most people equate creativity with being artistic, which is true in a sense, because being artistic has a lot of creativity with it, but it also can be found within any sort of line of work. I've heard a lot of stories that people have had a dull your sparkle moment, and this dull your sparkle moment, an example would be, say you're in kindergarten and you are playing with clay and you are building an elephant out of clay. In your mind, you are creating this piece of work that in your mind is your interpretation of an elephant. And someone your age, whether it be a friend or an acquaintance or even your teacher, comes up to you and is like, that doesn't look like an elephant at all, or what, that's not an elephant. And it really knocks down your confidence and makes you feel like, oh, maybe I'm not a creative individual. Whether this moment be big in your life or small, it has serious impacts on the way you view yourself as a creative individual within your whole life, and it will continue to take you down this path of lack of confidence in your creativity. To regain this creative confidence that everyone has deep down inside them, you really need to work on rewiring your brain. Your brain is a muscle, and by having creative confidence, it takes muscle memory, which can be strengthened and nurtured through effort and experience, just by doing and really taking the time to try and think of yourself as a creative person and understand that you are, and have the confidence to just be like, yeah, I am a creative person. And by doing this will rewire your brain. You'll start thinking differently, and it'll benefit your life so much more, especially because you are such a more confident person in what you can do. There are a series of steps that we have listed out into 8 simple rewiring steps and progression steps to help you become a creative, confident individual. These 8 steps include flip, dare, spark, leap, seek, team, move, and embrace. And by starting with this, you need to flip. This is the first step. Flipping your mind. So changing your mindset and understanding just the flip in your mindset where you are now thinking differently, that you are a creative person. Even that small moment can help you move towards a different path of creativity and that confidence. And another important step, which is number 2, is dare. You need to dare and be courageous to overcome something that is uncomfortable for you, regardless if it's being confident in your creativity or any sort of walk of life. By having the courage to see something and do something that is uncomfortable for you can benefit your life in a multitude of different ways. And by doing this, by daring to overcome that, you can spark innovative ideas. By sitting there and really thinking that, I'm doing this, I am creative, you can come up with these amazing ideas in your head, and then you need to leap from the idea stage to planning and finding the opportunities to implement these ideas. And from leaping from the spark, you can seek out these opportunities, whether it be financial or just seeking out the opportunities to follow your passion of creativity. It's really important to be able to follow a path of, is it feasible to do? But also, is this something that is creative, or am I following my passion? And a big step that helps you along the way is working as a team. So collaborating with people by sitting at a table and just laying your ideas out there and having a conversation, you are able to bounce ideas off of people. And especially if you have good leadership, you are able to create something that is once a really good idea into something really amazing. Step number 7 would be moving. You really need to flex these creative muscles, and consistently reminding you and making these steps, and just understanding that it doesn't have to be an organized thing. It can be chaos until you hone it into one thing. And from that, you are able to embrace your creative confidence. Embracing is something that is so important. If you are able to tap into your natural creativity, you have a chance to be absolutely extraordinary.
So after going through these steps, we can see some reoccurring themes. And that's that A, everyone is creative. B, you have to believe in your own ability. And C, you have to acknowledge that creativity is something that can be elaborated on and improved. There are some concepts that we want to grasp in order to truly change our mindset towards this creative confidence. And so the first is self-efficacy. We want to believe that we can achieve. You can't take that first step towards that big idea or making your dream a reality if you don't think that you can do it. So it takes some tapping into your own self to really muster up the courage that you can, in fact, change the world around you. This can be difficult for reasons such as fear. We've talked about fear already. Sometimes we go through traumatizing experiences that hold us back in life, in any area. And these fears can be overcome with something called guided mastery. And this applies really well in the case of creative confidence, because one thing that we tend to do is we don't want to create because of fear of failure, and we're not being sure if we can really be successful with it. But instead of measuring on a scale of successes and failures, perhaps approach your ideas like they're not perfect. And that can be hard to admit sometimes, but when we can admit to ourselves that the first go isn't always ready and isn't always perfect, we can get results, and we can learn and improve our ideas, and we can make them the successes and the dreams that we've always had. And the next is opening your mind even in a familiar world. So think of even the most familiar spaces like you've never been there. It's foreign land. So don't leave any rock unturned, because turning your back on an opportunity could be a good idea lost. Some good moments to have some epiphanies are when your mind is relaxed. And so you're not thinking and actively seeking that creative spark. You're not too focused, but it's somewhere between meditation and laser sharp focus. You have relaxed attention. Some people have these kinds of epiphanies when they're in the shower or when they go on a long walk, etc. Questions are a great way to get inspiration. Start asking questions like why? And we can get some insight to some of the everyday things that we thought we knew about but maybe don't know so well. And lastly, are likely going to be a part of your team. And maybe this is in a workplace. We want to make sure that we're maximizing our team's capacity to be creative and come up with new, innovative ideas. Another thing we have to accept is that everyone in the group is different. And so accepting these differences can actually cause some fertile ground for more ideas. This concept, karaoke confidence, goes something like this. Imagine you are on a stage. The idea that everyone is in the same boat together, we're supportive, and we're here for constructive experiences. Hospitals are not a place where most people want to be, and they can be really scary, especially for a child. And so what Doug decided to do was reinvent an MRI machine to emulate an adventure. And the results that he found were, when he redesigned what he thought was a wonderful invention from the get-go, He reinvented it to recreate the experience that these children had in the hospitals. And the outcome was that children were having so much fun, they were even asking their parents to come back the next day. One thing that I thought was super eye-opening was a survey that IBM did with 1,500 CEOs. They reported that creativity was the single most important leadership capacity to have right now. And I think that's really mind-boggling, and I wish that more people knew that. A good leader must not only embrace their own creative confidence, because we all think that, the leader is supposed to pretty much get the job done, we're just there to support them. But that's not how it's supposed to be. And more business places are acknowledging that that's not how it should be. Some of these leaders can be called multipliers. These are leaders that can almost double the results that they would have had by just encouraging their team in their own skills and abilities.
Thank you so much for listening to this presentation. We really hope that you guys are able to dive into your experiences and hone in this confidence in your creativity and following these steps. It's a really great way to just even begin rewiring your brain to understand that you are confident and you are creative. Thank you.